Alright, welcome to another video. As you can guess, probably from the thumbnail, we're going to be plastic dipping these wheels, which looks super horrible. The sun's been beating on them and that powder coating is really not going to cut it. As you can tell, if I rub on it, check how black that is. That basically means that the sun is basically penetrating to the paint and it's coming off. With that, let's go ahead and prep these really good, because before you even tackle painting anything, you want to make sure that you have a good prep surface. And in this case, the plastic dip, you don't have to sand it or anything. Just make sure you get some dish soap or any kind of detergent soap to clean off all the brake dust, all the grime. And what's really cool about this stuff is that you don't really have to tape up the tire. If you want to, you could, but in my case, I'm just gonna make it really simple. And you do probably have to tape up like the brake and rotors and stuff like that, you know, so you won't get any paint on the surface. But what I'm gonna do is basically take them off and just, you know, spray paint them on the floor. But nonetheless, you don't really have to tape this up, because once you put your 3 or 4 coats or however many coats you want to put on there, all you got to really do is once it dries, you just peel it off and it'll make a perfect little cut or incision or whatever you want to call it all the way around here, so you can just peel it off the tire. And the cool thing about it is this stuff won't stick to your tire, so that's another benefit of, you know, not really needing to cover up your tire. With that, let's go ahead and wash these bad boys. Alright, so what we're basically going to do is take off the 2 front tires, or I'm sorry, lift up the truck, obviously, take off the 2 front tires, and that's how we're going to do it. First the 2 front, and then we're going to do the back. Alright, I forgot to mention that we're also going to paint the hubcaps. These are the rear, and these skinny ones are in the front. So let me just give you a little quick painter's tip, if you will. And there's many ways of painting this, but this is how I go. When you're painting the first coat, all you want to do is just put a nice little even coat. It doesn't even have to cover everything. A lot of people go in and start slathering the crap, you know, in one shot that looks kind of like that. But what I like to do is just kind of evenly distribute that coat. So let me show you another one. Here, just clean. First coat, just a really light, just kind of get the mist on there. So it doesn't even have to look even. It might look like tiger stripes, but that's okay. That basically tells you that the paint is sticking on. So you see how there's no bubbles or streaks or whatever? That's telling you that the paint is adhering to the material. It might be plastic, metal, or whatever. But that's how I technically go on my first coat. And once that first coat dries, I typically wait about 10 to 15 minutes. Then I go ahead and hit it a little bit heavier, and then on the third coat, I go really heavy. And if you want to, you can put the 4th coat, which I go even more heavier than that. So it just basically depends how you want to go with it. Nonetheless, that's how I do it. Alright, so here's the finished product. Got my hubs plastic dip and my rims plastic dip. Here's the front. Let me go to the back. Give it a closer view. There it is. I'll give you a long shot because I know when people show these things, they kind of don't give you like an overall look. But I think it looks good. It may take some time for me to get used to them, but it's way better than it was before. I got rid of that milky, burned out coating from the sun. I think it looks pretty neat. Nonetheless, this will wrap up the video. Stay tuned for our next ones. There are more mods to come.